Happy New Year. Here at the Bridge Church, we've just begun a new sermon series in the Gospel of Mark, and I'm really excited about what lies ahead for us to walk with Jesus, to get to know Him more, to love Him and worship Him with our lives. This past week we talked about the beginning of Mark, the origin story of Jesus, and it starts out with a guy named John who's out by a body of water in the wilderness. So here's some water. It's not really the wilderness, but he's baptizing people, and he becomes a big deal, a celebrity. Everybody's coming to him. 30 years later, he's still got disciples who are coming across the Apostle Paul, for example. So he's a really big deal, great man. But he talks about how he's actually really nothing because there's somebody coming after him who he's not even worthy to untie the sandals of, which was like the job of a lowest servant or slave. So John's saying, like, really, compared to this other guy, I'm nothing. Of course, Jesus comes along. They meet at the Jordan River. And here is the one, John says, that is greater than me, the one coming after me. And at Jesus' baptism, the heavens open, the Spirit comes down, God, the Father, speaks from heaven. It's this crazy event that shows that Jesus is the Son of God, the Messiah, as Mark has said. And so here's a greater man than John. But the interesting thing to me is what Jesus does. Jesus submits to the baptism of John, and then he goes out into the wilderness for 40 days where he's tempted, he suffers, he struggles. Here's the greatest man who nevertheless puts it on himself to suffer on behalf of others and to submit to God's will in his life. And this whole episode just really makes me think about pride and humility and the way we often think of ourselves as being a big deal, and then we come to this story and we realize we have no right to think that way if John didn't think that way. And if Jesus, the Son of God, lived the way he did despite his greatness, it's got to challenge us. So my one big question for you this week as you think about this text and the sermon and so on is this: how does John challenge your perception of your own importance?